To talk to you a little bit about this Chris Kyle guy, this known bearer of false witness, American manhunter, and the irony behind calling him American Sniper. That's hilarious if you live on the East Coast and remember the whole DC sniper thing. They use those same words to strike fear into everybody in this area. But anyway, this guy, he founded a company called Kraft International, which is basically like a Black Ops front group government contractor for drills. And they were spotted all over the whole Boston Marathon bombing hoax.
Well, people wearing their uniform and hats were. I'm not saying they were involved, but yeah, no, he was. That might have been why they killed him, was to cover that up.
Yeah, they have their hats have the exact skull logo. If you go to their website, it's called thecraft.com.
No, it's a Punisher with blood dripping out the eye. Yeah,
and the craft is specifically the term used to describe the lower levels of Freemasonry. But anyway, and the website itself goes on to talk about how their logo is based off of the Templar cross, which also has a direct connection to Freemasonry. But yeah,
no, I know. Clearly, he was into Masonry. That's pretty clear.
Yeah, they were spotted on the ground at the Boston Marathon bombing, and they've got their uniforms, their skull logo on their hat. The backpack matches the backpack that they said was evidence of the bomb going off. But that whole thing was a complete Hollywood psyop, completely fake if you look into it at all.
And look how it worked out for Chris Kyle.
Yep, he's dead now. So anyone who wants to do those kind of things to our country, you ain't particularly safe afterwards. And many of the people involved in Sandy Hook are having their lives exposed to the whole world for being in on that fraud. So, it's not a particularly safe line of business.
No, I hear you. The most dangerous position to be in is working for the New World Order. I mean, it is just unbelievable. And it's a big hoax that you can't get into that and get out of it. Most people get out of it once they get into really evil stuff. So that thing about you never get out of the CIA, you never get out of special ops, bull. That's bull. I appreciate your call. Let's go to Steve in Florida. Steve, you're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, Alex. Real quick, I wanted to point something out, and this will help people a lot in dealing with what's going on with America. There's a spiritual and a natural parallel. Here's what I'm getting at. It's been said that the church is the conscience of the nation. So I'm talking about Christianity. Because there's been a corruption of the Bible and doctrine, we've had an acceptance of deception and lies with the higher criticism and the perversion of the Word of God. The natural outcome is the rise of the dumbing down of our education system with evolution, sex ed, Common Core, etc. We've also had the corruption of the church's worship with their fake Pentecostalism and so-called Christian entertainment. So in the natural, we've had the rise of Hollywood, the TV and music industry, the virtual reality versus life reality.
That's right. If you take God out of it, flooding in is the worst of the worst that will take the four and then force feed our children demoniac garbage to enslave them.
Yeah, we've also had the corruption of the church's thinking with so-called Christian psychology, which makes self God. Well, we've had the rise of Freudian and Jungian.
Oh, I know. I cannot tell you what it's done with people I know with these name it and claim it brainwasher churches that turn people into like psychopaths. They believe they can do anything they want because God's on their side. It is bizarre.
And we've also had the corruption of the church's stand with this preacher rapture fantasy rather than fight on and endure to the end.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to keep doing Overdrive, Steve. Stay there. And then Ed, Randy, and that'll be it for calls. I'm going to keep going for Ed and Randy and Steve and a few final news stories. Straight ahead, Overdrive continues.
Are you always 5 minutes late? Maybe you're only late when you don't want to be somewhere. Then you realize you're always 5 minutes late. For work, you set 3 alarms, drag your feet in the shower, drink your coffee slowly until you're rushing out the door. 5 minutes late. It's not that you hate your job. Hate is such a strong word. You're just not that excited about it. But most people don't love what they do, right? Listen, if you're local to the Twin Cities, are hardworking, self-driven with experience in sales, marketing, or advertising, are personable, and a whiz on the phone, you might want to join one of the largest independent talk radio networks in the world, GCN. Because right now, we are hiring, and we offer benefits. Experience preferred, but we'll train the right person. Is that you? Submit your resume today to advertise@gcnlive.com. That's advertise@gcnlive.com. Come work with the Genesis Communications Network, where you'll want to be 5 minutes early every day.
Several months back, I started taking your Mason iodine and your super meal. Prior to this, I was barely walking. Now I'm able to function as a human again.
InfoWarsLife.com. You've heard the callers of the show.
Your products are great. I use DNA Force. I use X2,
Thank you.
Super Male Vitality, and Lung Cleanse. Every day, they're great stuff.
Whether it's Survival Shield Nascent Iodine or DNA Force, Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, Lung Cleanse, Fluoride Shields, Oxy Powder, I believe that all of these products will blow you away like they've done the thousands of other customers that have visited InfoWarsLife.com.
Dash 2, just amazing what it's able to do to actually detox the body. It's great stuff.
Check out InfoWarsLife.com today and the entire line of groundbreaking, cutting-edge, hardcore products.
If the IRS has garnished your paycheck or seized money from your bank account, you need to get professional tax help now. Fast action is required to put a halt to these aggressive IRS collection tactics. You can count on the knowledgeable team of tax professionals at Wall & Associates. With over 30 years of experience, Wall & Associates has settled the tax problems of thousands of taxpayers for a small fraction of what they owed. For a free face-to-face consultation, call 1-800-425-4610 to put a wall between you and the IRS. 1-800-425-4610 or look for us on the web at wallandassociates.net. We solve tax problems. If you hire Wall & Associates today, you'll never have to talk to the IRS again. To stop the levies and seizures today, take action now. Call Wall & Associates at 1-800-425-4610. Wall & Associates, 1-800-425-4610. Based on actual cases, results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services.
You are listening to an Infowars.com frontline report. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
That's a good intro liner. We should play that more during the main transmission. All right, let's hurry through your calls. We're in overdrive here, taking your calls. I have a few other stories I want to hit on. To show how conditioned I've gotten, they're at Davos on TV talking about micro mosquitoes that'll force us to take our shots and saying, get over it, you have no privacy, as they announce each year. And I'm just so conditioned. I'm like, yeah, they're announcing micro mosquitoes, robots, big deal. See, first it doesn't exist, and now, oh, it's just no big deal. And even I'm being conditioned. It's just amazing. Steve, absolutely, you know, they talk about religion being used for wars, not spirituality or not a belief in Christ. But you look at these big mega churches, they're just government intelligence agencies, and they take normal people and then get them all hyped up to be super confident and believe they can act or do whatever they want because you know, Jesus is going to reward them because they go to that church. And it creates mentally ill monsters. It's almost like a type of narcissism they're teaching them. I noticed you mentioned that, and I have witnessed that myself.
Yeah, I have a couple more real quick. There's been a corruption of the church's mission, which is the Great Commission, that's been neutralized, neglected. We've replaced it with this Kingdom Now church growth movement, focusing on our property, etc. Well, here in the natural, we have the rise of the laziness of the welfare EBT class, farming out our kids, our elderly, and our industry. And then the corruption of the church's perspective, where it's temporal rather than eternal. Well, we've got the rise of the me generation and instant gratification, got to have it now rather than thinking long term. The corruption of the church's stand with this pre-trib rapture fantasy rather than fight on and endure to the end. And so we've got the rise of the zombie nation with the sports, the game shows, the tabloid reality. And then finally, the corruption of the church leadership with their greed, perversion, and egotism. So we have the rise of a criminal government and their God trip.
Well said. I'm going to take the call you made earlier and then finishing up in this segment and put it out as a video because I think what you've said is absolutely on target, and it's scary And I'm not, again, up here saying I'm some moral, perfect person. I'm fleshly. I have bad thoughts. But, I mean, part of that is you war game things in your mind. I get in the mind of the enemy. I understand how they think. And then I look at just the stupid, dumbed-down, me people that just want to believe Obama's going to give them free college or a free car or a free house, and all the illegals worldwide coming here to get a free lunch, as if anybody's really going to get a free lunch, as if it isn't about creepy total enslavement. And even though they get lied to over and over again, they still bet again because they want to believe they're going to get something for free. They're just chumps. And then you see how soft and dumb the public's gotten, part of industrialization. It's not all the globalists doing. They're just exacerbating it. Imagine when everything falls and goes to hell in a handbasket, what it'll be like with these giant hordes of entitled, weak, pathetic people. And then all these fake tough men. All these fake tough guys strutting around thinking they're Billy Badass. I mean, what's it going to be like for them when the you-know-what hits the oscillating device? It's going to be crazy. Anything else?
Yeah, I just want to say this in conclusion. I'm not for perpetuating this, self-fulfilling prophecy. Well, it's the last days. God said this would happen. There's nothing we can do. I'm going to stand for the truth and fight on. But I want to say this, Alex. What we see happening in America is the judgment of God, not just on the nation, but on the church because of their mockery of God before the lost. And unless the church turns and changes the direction they're going, I believe we're going to see a total implosion of America, which I believe has to happen to wake people up to the reality of what's going on, because they're so complacent and lukewarm and living in a fantasy world and believing we're going to get transported out of here before this all comes down. I don't see any other way, because most of them have this knee-jerk deer in the headlights their reaction when I try to tell them what's going on.
Well, sure, you tell the average fake Christian their daughter's on crack cocaine. They don't believe it till she dies of an overdose. I appreciate your fine points. Take the story of Pharaoh, Ramses, and Moses in the Bible. Whether you believe that's true or not, historically it shows it happened. I mean, at least those men existed. There was an exodus. But I went and saw the remake of it, thought it was a pretty good film with Bale. But I liked the character, the guy that played Ramses, I forget his name, but it just gets worse and worse for him, and he's getting judged, and he gets beaten over and over again, but he's too prideful to stop. He's too prideful to turn back. And I've run into that with enemies who attack me and lie about me and come after me, even though bad stuff starts happening to them. And I don't want to get into mojo, mumbo, jumbo stuff here. I just know I've got providence. That's what humbles me so much, that anyone that's ever persecuted me, long-term, horrible things happen to them. And I've experienced providence and things in my life that I won't even get into. But let me just say, there is a lot more in heaven and earth than is in all your books. Which Shakespeare is that? Is it Othello? Just type in Shakespeare. There is more in heaven and earth than in all your books. Horatio? I forget who he's talking to. I'm going from memory here. But it's not just evil that has power in this world, but evil knows the promise of the devil. It knows it can be given power, and they crave it, and good people do not crave it. You have to start craving, though, standing up against these people and get past your initial fear. It's Hamlet. That's right, it's Hamlet. I don't know why I didn't remember that. Where's the actual quote? There are more things